Today, even more light on innovation. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Welcome to this post covering finance and prep news with a distinctively Australian flavour. Now, last week I spoke with Zoran from SmarterLite, and there was a lot of enthusiastic response from the followers on DFA. So I'm back for another slice of chat with Zoran. Hi, Zoran.
Hi, Martin. Great for the opportunity for us to show you actually our visuals, because we're such a visual company. That initial interview, which we're very thankful for, was a prompt one as I was traveling across the state borders. But thank you very much for the opportunity to actually elaborate on what we do and the innovation that we're providing the built infrastructure and clients across Australia.
Well, it's good to catch up again. Look, a lot of people were really enthusiastic about your enthusiasm and recognizing the travails of trying to be an innovator in Australia. But I tell you what, let's start with the really powerful demo of what you've got, because basically what you've got is a technology that glows in the dark.
Yes, we do. And look, we have a very positive thinking team. So there's no can-do attitude. All the obstacles that come our way, we look at the way we provide solutions and what value our products can give to the clients out there. Because if we can do that, we'll be okay. We'll do the right thing, and I think the nation can move forward as well. So what I'll do is if it's okay with you, we'll just go through quickly a couple of products, and then we'll do a blackout and present, and people get the visual stimulation to see what our products actually do.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got a series of signs and things on your desk there, and you do a whole range, don't you?
We do. So we make the actual pigments, and then we put them into different carriers that allow us to make signs or molded products and all that sort of thing. Now, if you look at existing technology, I mean, you're looking at an electric exit sign with hundreds of components, battery, which all does fail. A big sort of problem for the clients that are trying to run their businesses and be productive in their businesses, and interruptions of exit signs. Then there's e-waste and all those issues. So these sorts of technologies, cumbersome technologies of the past, we are trying to provide from that into a battery of light, a light battery. This stores energy, it absorbs it, holds it, and then emits visible energy, which you'll see now. So I just want to, for example, this is a standard sign. This is our photoluminescent sign. You'll see what I mean when we do the blackout. This could be a standard road sign, visible in the light either way. You'll see what happens when I do a blackout. So if it's okay with you, we'll drop the lights now, and we'll at the same time talk about the benefits to the greater community and the businesses out there on this.
Yeah, give it a go. I'll be interested to see what happens.
Okay, here we go. So there'll be a bit of background noise. Our curtains will come down at the moment. So we're all about high power consumption of the existing technology, reducing the emission, reducing battery e-waste, and the high failure rate. These products will last a long time and allow people to focus on their core business. So we're talking probably 50 to 100 kilograms of carbon for a sign, and about $150. So hopefully this is coming across to you well, and you can see what happens in a blackout.
Right, so now you're in a dark room, except you're not, because all the signs are glowing.
Correct. So there is no wired power here. So whether we're talking about road signage over here, whether we're talking about exit signage, it is no problem about visibility. So we can provide carbon neutral and ongoing zero cost for clients in terms of safety, their built infrastructure safety. Just to give you an idea, that sign I showed you before, that exit sign, old technology, our technology. Right? A road sign, right? Our technology, old. Now, if you have incident light, you will get reflectivity from a standard sign. But look, we just add, who doesn't want to protect their mum and their daughter? So we're talking about greater safety across the board in both roads as well as built infrastructure.
And how long will they go on glowing? I mean, assuming that they've been exposed to light over, a day or so.
Yeah.
Is it?
So in Australia, we have the highest performance requirements globally. So in the Europe and US, we're talking about we're anywhere from 10 times the performance requirements. So we have this particular test. We do a 90-minute test to make sure there's plenty of visibility. And as I said, Australia is 6 times the US standard at 90 minutes of darkness. So that's just a process we have to go through to make sure we have highest performing products. As a result of that, we get so much light. I mean, look at that, right? We get so much light from these products that we're able to create visibility in 3-dimensional space. The idea of photoluminescence originally was to just see a 2-dimensional sign, right? But we are now at levels like the Sydney Opera House where we can create light in rooms and corridors for evacuations. So it just tells you how far we're going. As far as this visibility here, if we were here all night, the emission would continue, it would reduce, but we would see it all night, right? And then again, you get new fresh of energy from any kind of light, you'll get a repeat. So that's a sort of benefit we can provide. So
it's pretty amazing. And I'm just sort of thinking you could actually apply this direct to walls, couldn't you? So you could actually have areas where you always wanted some degree of luminescence. You could actually have it on the walls themselves.
You can. And because you can get pathways, so you can see a stair nosing, a handrail, right? If you're trying to evacuate a building, you want to make sure you don't break your ankle on a step. You want to make sure you can hold a handrail. So we can highlight things you need to see. But by painting the walls, we can also highlight the 3-dimensional space around you, which is another value add that we are able to now slowly. Because remember, what you can see now, tomorrow we will have even greater performance. So that this technology we continue. We are very innovative. We are a can-do company. And our people are just always looking at ways we can improve and get ahead and create better value for the companies out there.
Right. So let's talk about the engagement with potential customers and presumably potential state and federal and local authorities. How do they react to these sorts of very leading edge, very innovative concepts?
Fantastically. So if you look at a commercial end, so we're working with Wesfarmers Bunnings Group, and we've done projects with Charter Hall, and we're talking to Goodman and all these major infrastructure companies. So what's the value to them? But if you just look at one of the large format retail groups, national program, because these people have thousands or tens of thousands of signs, right, across their portfolio.
Of course. Yeah.
So So you've got to realize, you add those numbers up. So for a life cycle of one of our products, they're looking at about one of our large format retailers, about $80 million of savings, about 35 million kilograms of carbon reductions, and about 40 million kilowatts of savings. All right. So you just got to, those numbers are enormous. And if you extrapolate that across the country, it's enormous. We've also had positive feedback from government. So, for example, there's a Department of Road Safety and Infrastructure. We're fortunate to get a part of a grant in terms of greater road safety as well program. So we can incorporate these technologies into greater road safety as well. So there are positive signs in all the challenges that businesses have. There are positive signs of being able to get ahead. And one particular program we're thinking of is, for example, the future of Australia needs good, strong trades, right? So let's say you look at the future electricians of Australia. Well, we've got to have them, right? So when we then say, okay, if you look at federal, state and municipal government, if they were to, for example, look at a program of retrofitting to this technology, right, you would have an enormous amount of work for all the electricians and the future electricians. So you're promoting the apprentice program for them. You are, as a government, you're saving money and you're going green. So it's a beautiful thing that just keeps giving, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to keep developing, grow Australian innovation, manufacturing, and then delivering from Australia and then go global.
Yeah, absolutely. But you highlighted the other time we spoke about some of the frustrating barriers that are there. And clearly, you know, the physical demonstration can break down some barriers, but you also, I think, underscored the paperwork and the one-size-fits-all regulation and stuff in Australia. And it's just worth, I think, just replaying that thought again, that, you know, there are things that could be done both at a state and a federal level to facilitate and enable greater innovation, isn't there?
Yes, we urge all governments to consider what it means for small business to be able to be efficient at moving forward, right? So if we can have streamlined regulations, still have, of course, all the safety. I mean, we have all the protocols of safety and all the relevant regulatory requirements that we cover. But if we urge all governments to be focused, what does it mean if you have a heavy burden of regulation? For small and growing business, that is an obstacle which can delay your success. So with the can-do attitude of our team, we just get through it. We just keep going, right? But the fact is that, you know, if there's an extra bit of paperwork, then that person is doing that and not advancing a product, or it's doing something else, not advancing a project. So we urge all government to think really, really clearly, how do we advance and clear the pathway for innovation? Because it'll just happen quicker. You see, we all have a lifetime, right? There's one lifetime, one shot. If something takes 5 years instead of 5 months, if something takes 10 years instead of 5 years, then you can imagine a lifetime goes through and you don't get a chance to make the full impact. Our call to Australia, the Australian government and business is, hey, let's make a change today and let's drive things forward and succeed as a great nation and deliver this, for example, this technology to the world.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, of course, there have been some very powerful innovations in Australia, but they've tended to have to go offshore, particularly to the US, for example, to be able to really take the business forward.
Yes, very, very true. And I have to tell you, there are some nights that I go to sleep and I wonder, right? Now, it's not a threat to the nation. It's just, I was born overseas. I'm a European-born child, and I'm a born-again Aussie now, right? I was a little child when I came here, and this nation has given me a chance to create this, right? It gave me a great education and gave me a chance to create this. Now I'm calling out to the nation saying, hey, let's keep moving forward, right? Because why would you want someone like me who and our team who are willing to bet everything and drive forward this innovation? Why would you want us to think about leaving, right? That's the thing, because it takes a lot of effort from all our people to commit to something like this. It's pain sometimes, but we know what we're trying to do, okay? So we want to stay here. We want to advance and export from Australia. Let's have the governments and big corporates and all that come together to see how we can do that here.
Yeah. No, that's right. And it's interesting because I've had a few conversations now, quite a few, in fact, with other innovators, and they've all got this same diabolical dilemma. They want to be here. They want to drive innovation here for Australia and for Australians. And yet the hurdles and barriers do seem to be a lot bigger than in some other contexts. And so there is this sort of, do I stay? Do I go? Do I look for some other source? So there are things that the government could and should be doing to enable and foster innovation. What would be the number one thing that you call them out that needs to be changing?
Well, the signs that there is something like this innovation grant we got for road safety, right? There are signs that governments can do that, because governments can't get too micro, right? They've got to have macro. But from that point of view, you've got to be able to facilitate for processes that allow for easy adoption of change, right? So in that sense, if we look at like the government, what are they trying to achieve? Well, we've just had a COVID period. There's been massive impact on the budget and everything else. Well, if you look at the infrastructure of all levels of government, as I said, federal, state, and municipal, the existing technology is burning money, right? And it's also products that are mainly from overseas, right? So if we can support local manufacturing of a product that's going to save government money, that's a good thing for the budgets of governments. And then if you look at on top of that, you're looking at a forward program of future skill sets and trades and future electricians and other trades growing through this process. That can be facilitated at a macro level, because they want to go greener anyway. So whichever side of argument you sit on about green, and there are positives on all arguments on all ends. the thing is, we got to live sustainably, right? And this technology provides you that, and provides everybody focus on what the core things they want to do. If you're selling hammers in a hardware store, you don't want to worry about exit signs. You want to be able to focus on the customer experience and delivering better outcomes for your business. So we give you a product, set and forget. Essentially, set and forget. There are no complicated circuitries. This is it. This is going to continue working, right? This is the amazing thing. This is going to continue working for a long time. And then guess what? You can make a hose out of it if you want. So you can see your garden hose easier. It's got that transition into another form. So at macro levels, governments can facilitate and need to. We're going to get to a situation after this period of budgets blowing out. We need to facilitate for change, because guess what? We do this well here, or implement it here, the world is our oyster, okay? And then imagine the export dollars for Australia, because guess what? These elements that we create this from are all in Australia. Currently, we dig it up, we ship it overseas, and we have to get some things done overseas, then we bring it back. But guess what? We could do it all here, right? So let's think macro. Let's think, what does it mean for advancement of Australia? We can't just have asset prices of homes and dig and ship rule this nation. And that is, if I'm going to have one argument, guys, I'm going to pick you up on those things.
Yeah. So you're talking about cultural and procedural and a bit of philosophy there too, in terms of how you think about our place in the world and what we can do. Zoran, really interesting demonstration, really interesting conversation. Glad to be able to pick it up with you once again. All power to your elbow. And, we'll continue to preach the gospel of innovation required in Australia, and governments should actually get behind it rather than actually be barriers to it.
Martin, thank you very much. You're doing great work. I cannot thank you enough for your effort. And look, we're just going to keep fighting and good Aussie spirit, and we're going to make change. We're going to change the world, and we're going to have exit signs all over Australia and all over the world. So that's our aim.
No, well, terrific. And I must say, it's the first time I've recorded a show with somebody in the dark, but absolutely powerful demonstration of your product. So terrific.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for that. And we'll keep in touch as things progress, and come back and maybe get an update down the track.
Thank you so much, Martin. Much appreciated.
Take care. Good luck.
Take care.